Most people with $2 million saved are doing the same thing. They're sitting on it, watching it grow, telling themselves they'll travel more when the time is right. And then one day they look up and they're 80. The knees don't work the way they used to, and the money is still there. That's not a success story. That's a tragedy with a great account balance. If you're 60 years old, you're healthy, and you've got 2.2 million saved, the math actually says you should be spending more right now, not less. The go-go years don't last forever, and the biggest financial mistake I see people make isn't running out of money, it's running out of time to spend it. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the exact strategy for a married couple at 60 with 2.2 million saved who wants to front load their spending without blowing up their retirement. We're talking about the go-go years, a treasury ladder war chest, social security timing, income guardrails, and the 9 tax surprises that wreck retirement plans, and how to solve every single one of them. I'm Megan Ranshaw, CFP, and this is the plan. Retirement doesn't age evenly. Financial planners have known for decades that spending follows a curve, not a flat line. The first phase is your go-go years, roughly ages 60 to 70. You're active, you're traveling, you're doing the things you always said you would do. Then come the slow-go years. Activity pulls back, healthcare creeps up, and the no-go years, where spending drops significantly. The data backs this up hard. JP Morgan tracked retirement spending from ages 60 to 94 and found that average annual spending drops from $75,630 at ages 60 to 64, all the way down to $51,920 at ages 90 to 94. That's a 31% decline. And yet most retirement plans are built as if every year costs the same. They're not. Spending the most when you're most capable isn't reckless, it's rational. 2/3 of retirees say they actually want to front-load spending in retirement for exactly this reason. The problem is most of them don't have a structured plan to do it safely. That's what we're building today. Consider a hypothetical scenario. A couple retires at 60 with 2.2 million. They spend conservatively for the first decade, roughly $90,000 per year, because they're afraid to touch too much. By 75, they have more money than they started with, but their health has changed. The big bucket list trip to Japan they kept pushing off, it's now a logistical challenge instead of an adventure. This is a pattern I see constantly. Retirees who underspend early and overshoot late. The Center for Retirement Research found that the average retired household cut spending by about 1.5% every year throughout retirement. That means your ability and desire to spend in your 80s is genuinely lower than it is today. Frontloading is not about being irresponsible. It's about matching your spending to your capacity for enjoyment. Your 62-year-old self can do things your 82-year-old self cannot. The plan needs to reflect that reality. For a married couple at 60 with 2.2 million, the first question is, what does elevated spending actually look like? Start with your baseline needs. Most couples in this situation need somewhere between $90,000 to $100,000 per year to cover housing, food, transportation, and insurance. That's your floor. Now add your go-go layer. This is the spending that is specific to these active years. Travel, experiences, helping adult kids, hobby spending. For many couples, that number is an additional $30,000 to $50,000 per year during the go-go phase. So, in a hypothetical example, say this couple targets $145,000 per year in total spending for their first 10 years of retirement. Then plans for it to naturally decline to $105,000 in their mid-70s as the go-go phase winds down. This is a hypothetical example for illustration purposes. With 2.2 million and a well-structured plan, that elevated spending is absolutely sustainable. The key is having the right structure underneath it. The single biggest threat to front-loaded spending is sequence of returns risk. If markets drop 30% in your first 2 years of retirement and you're pulling $145,000 per year to fund your lifestyle, you're selling at the worst possible time. The solution is a treasury ladder. This is where you take 4 to 5 years of spending needs and park them in U.S. Treasury securities with staggered maturity dates, one maturing each year like steps on the ladder. Each year, a bond matures and covers your spending. You never have to touch your stock portfolio when markets are down. For our hypothetical couple spending $145,000 per year, a 4-year treasury ladder means roughly $580,000 parked in short-term treasuries with maturities from year 1 to year 4. The remaining $1.6 million stays invested and growing. When markets recover, you refill the ladder. Your portfolio never gets forced into panic selling. This is the war chest that lets you spend confidently in your go-go years without watching the market every single morning. Everyone's heard delay to 70 for Social Security, and in many cases that math works. But for couples who want to enjoy life early and aren't willing to sacrifice their go-go years waiting for a bigger check, there's a different conversation worth having. For our example clients, Michael and Jennifer, the goal was clear: claim early, lock in income now, and fund the lifestyle they worked decades to build. When both spouses claim at retirement, you bring in 2 checks immediately. That income reduces what you're pulling from the portfolio in the early years, protecting against sequence of returns risk right when it matters most. The trade-off is a lower lifetime check, but for couples comfortable owning more stocks long-term to cover longevity risk, the portfolio picks up where Social Security leaves off. The early income buys time for the portfolio to grow and for them to actually enjoy the go-go years they planned for. A Vanguard study found that for certain retirees, claiming early actually preserves more wealth over time because it protects the portfolio during those vulnerable early years. This isn't one size fits all, but for couples who want to front-load their retirement experience, claiming early deserves a serious place in the conversation. A front-loaded plan without guardrails is just a fast way to run out of money. Guardrails are the feedback system that keeps everything in balance. The guardrails approach works like this. You set an initial withdrawal rate, and then you set upper and lower spending boundaries based on how your portfolio performs. If your portfolio grows significantly and your withdrawal rate drops well below your target, the guardrail signals that you can spend more. If your portfolio takes a hit and your withdrawal rate climbs too high, the guardrail signals a modest pullback, typically 10% on discretionary spending. For our hypothetical couple, say they started a 5% withdrawal rate on $2.2 million, which is $110,000 from their portfolio plus Social Security income, covering the rest of their $145,000 target. If the portfolio grows and their withdrawal rate drops to 4%, they get a green light to spend more. If a bear market pushes their rate to 6.2%, they trim $10,000 to $15,000 from discretionary expenses until things recover. The go-go years naturally align with higher spending. The guardrails let you lean in when conditions support it and protect you when they don't. No panic, no guessing, just a system. Retirement comes with a predictable set of tax surprises. Every single one of them is avoidable with the right structure. This plan addresses all 9. First, you lose control of your tax return once RMDs kick in at age 75. You're forced to take money out whether you need it or not. Second, up to 85% of your Social Security benefit becomes taxable if your income is high enough. Third, those RMDs can push you into higher brackets than you ever paid while working. Fourth, and this is the one we're solving today, underspending in the go-go years in itself is a tax problem. It means more money piling up in pre-tax accounts, creating bigger RMDs later. Fifth, without tax diversification, you have no flexibility when markets or tax laws shift. Sixth, IRMA. If your modified adjusted gross income exceeds the thresholds, Medicare Part B and D premiums jump significantly. A large RMD can trigger thousands of dollars in extra Medicare costs per year. Seventh, when one spouse dies, the survivor files single. Same income, higher brackets. Eighth, your heirs inherit a pre-tax IRA, and under the Secure Act's 10-year rule, they're forced to distribute it, likely during their peak earning years, at their tax rates. And ninth, future tax law uncertainty. The One Big Beautiful Bill has locked Tax Cuts and Jobs Act tax rates in permanently, which creates a known environment to plan in. The solution that addresses all 9 is Roth conversions during the before and during the go-go years. Between 55 and 75, before RMDs start, you have a window to convert pre-tax IRA money to Roth at known relatively low rates. Converting now fills lower tax brackets, reduces future RMDs, shrinks the IRMA exposure, eliminates the survivor bracket trap, and passes tax-free assets to your heirs. The front-loaded spending plan actually helps here too. More spending means lower RMD balances to deal with later. This isn't just a spending plan, it's a tax plan. For a hypothetical married couple at 60 with $2.2 million, here's what we have. A treasury ladder. $580,000 in staggered 1 to 5 year treasuries, covering go-go spending without touching equities. The rest of their portfolio, $1.62 million, is in a diversified growth allocation. Their spending target is $145,000 per year in the go-go phase, stepping down naturally to $105,000 to $115,000 in slow-go phase. Social Security. They claim Social Security at retirement to enjoy their go-go years, shift long-term risk to the portfolio. Roth conversions. Annual conversions filling the 22% or 24% bracket from now through age 75 to reduce future RMDs and IRMA exposure. Guardrails. Their upper trigger at 20% below their initial withdrawal rate means they spend more. A lower trigger at 20% above the initial rate, they trim discretionary spending by 10%. This is a hypothetical example for illustration purposes. But this is what a structured front-loaded plan actually looks like for someone in this position. If you've got $2 million or more saved and you're in your 50s or 60s, the worst thing you can do is sit on it and wait. The go-go years are happening right now. The tax window for Roth conversions is open right now. The rates on Treasury ladders are attractive right now. If you want to see what this looks like with your actual numbers, your Social Security estimate, your account balances, your spending goals, that's exactly what we do at MOKAN Wealth. Head to the description and click Get Started Now to see if we're fit. The plan exists. You just need to build it.